There was something I want to talk to you about, just the two of us, in 5 minutes. Come to my room. Check the nameplates, make sure you don't get it the wrong room, okay?
I found a notepad during my search, and I shaded in the top sheet with a pencil. And these are the words that appear.
Oh man! I've totally seen people do that on detective shows. When you write, it can leave an imprint. Sketch over the next sheet of paper, and you can see the words. When I saw that, I was like, holy crap! I better make sure I rip the paper out before I use it from now on.
As if you plan to do a murder! Why would you say this?
Exactly. Why would you say that?
Even the classics can be surprisingly useful sometimes. Oh, and I should also
She's like the
mention,
ultimate detective or
I
something.
found the notepad on the desk in
not
Makoto's
sure.
room. Huh? Which means only someone who had been in Makoto's room before the incident could have written it.
Then either it was Makoto who lived there, or Sayaka who switched rooms for a single night.
So, Makoto, did you write this?
No, I didn't. But
Of course you didn't, because the note also bears a perfectly legible signature. Sayaka's signature.
Then, that note! Sayaka wrote it?
but why? Why would she write that?
The note was likely her way of getting in touch with a certain someone. She must have slid it under their door to let them know she wanted to meet with them in secret.
If you got an invitation like that from the ultimate pop sensation, what young man could resist?
Of course, I'm only into
Fair
2D, so it wouldn't have any
Fair
effect on
enough.
me.
But can we be sure
Fucking
anyone even
superhero
got
over
this
here.
note? And honestly,
Yeah.
even if they did, I do not think they are at all involved in what happened. Huh? What
I
makes
want to
you
say
say
that, but it's a good possibility that they aren't
Would you like to
involved.
hear what
Well,
I have to say?
Yes.
Very well then. Pay
Found in that
attention.
room. There's no like, unless she was planning to meet with someone, but even then, who and why? Dorm nameplates. Wait, what?
Sayaka and Makoto switched rooms, correct? But in the note,
Yes.
the place they were asked to come to, it specifically says, my room. I see. So if someone read that note,
I think that's what I have to
then they
do.
would have gone to Sayaka's
Or no, it
room.
must... No, it can't be that.
Exactly.
Nope.
The room that Makoto
This was it.
staying
That's what I
in.
have to hit.
So
Alright.
in other words, even if someone did read the note and did what it said, they would not have any connection to what happened.
It certainly would
It's
seem
because-
that way.
It's because they switch things that it's not
Sayaka
Makoto's
and
room.
Makoto got in the note.
Yeah,
It
because
specifically
what she's
said-
saying, she's saying that
So
because
if
we switched
someone
rooms, the
read
room
that
they would
note,
go to is the room
then
we
they
were
would
in,
have
so
gone to Sayaka's
he's not,
room.
the
My
point is he's
room.
not involved.
The room that Makoto...
No, hold
But
up.
it couldn't be.
Wait a minute.
the nameplates on my and Sayaka's rooms
Objection!
got switched.
Yeah?
They got switched?
That's right. The nameplates got switched, just like the rooms themselves. As a result,
Still blame
the
Monokuma
nameplate
for
on
that.
Sayaka's room actually had Makoto's name. And the nameplate on Makoto's room had Sayaka's.
So what you're saying is, the room Sayaka was staying in was actually marked as her room.
Then, if someone did do what the note said, they would end up at Makoto's room where Sayaka was.
Plus, their rooms are right next to each other, so switching the nameplates would be no problem. And the one who switched the names was... Well, of course it wasn't you, right, Makoto?
So who was it?
Right?
Okay, then who did it?
There's only one person.
I got it!
Me and
She went out
Sayaka
for
were
the
the
water.
only ones who ever knew about us switching rooms. So the only other person besides me who would even know to switch the nameplates was Sayaka.
You can also infer as much from her note.
There's something that we have to talk about, just the two of us. In 5 minutes, come in to see me in my room. Check the nameplate to make sure you don't get the wrong room, okay?
She specifically tells the reader to check the nameplate. She would only have written that if she knew the nameplates had been switched.
Exactly.
But why would she switch them in the first place?
Steve?
She
Trying
wanted
to
someone to
protect
come
our
to the room
dumbass
she
for
was
some
in,
reason?
and also hide the fact that it was Makoto's room.
What?
Inviting someone to your room, but not telling them you'd switched rooms. Why would anyone do that?
Take my main character.
To understand that, we first need to understand what happened after she invited the person into the room. That's where the answer lies.
What happened then was probably whoever she invited over came in and attacked her. We figured it out! We know who did it! Whoever she invited over is the culprit!
Oh,
We still don't know
Are
who
you
it is, you goddamn idiot!
Exactly.
Sayaka fought with
By
the killer there
smarter
in the
than
room,
honor
yes?
roll student.
Perhaps the answer to our previous question lies in that initial struggle.
Yes, I think you're right.
Then... we just have to figure out what happened during the fight, right?
Wasn't Aoi, wasn't
That reminds
the
me.
girl that was-
There was a replica sword at the murder scene. Was that perhaps used during the fight?
Oh yeah. What's the deal with that sword?
Sayaka suggested I should hold on to it. I thought it might come in handy if I had to defend myself. It seems pretty likely that the killer used it to break Sayaka's right wrist.
Exactly.
How the hell could you
It
possibly
must have
know
been
that's what
somebody.
broke her wrist?
Because her wrist was broken, it had golden powder on it. But is it the sword or is it the
All
sword
you have to
sheath?
do is
Oh,
take a
it's the
good look
wrist.
at her broken wrist, and it should become pretty clear.
they'll tackle that in a second.
Right there where her wrist
Okay.
is all swollen. There's something glittery there. See?
Is that gold?
It sure is. Specifically, the gold coating from the replica sword. You barely have to touch that stuff, and it'll stick right to you. And there's some on her wrist because...
I got it! Because she got hit with the sword! Right there on her wrist!
So, one thing, whoever else has it should also have gold on themselves.
Closer.
Alright,
So they took
then
a
it's
shower
about time to
since
solve this mystery.
He looks like someone who would be in the mystery van.
He does.
What led to Sayaka's death? That's what we need to make clear. There's a bit more to learn about non-stop debates. You're
Sure,
getting used
man.
to these non-stop debates. Starting even
Yep.
with the next big debate, they will start loading multiple truth bullets into the cylinder. Just like with the weak spots, only one of those bullets are actually refute the proper statement. In other words, from here on out, you'll have to combine both the right truth bullets and the right weak spots to refuse each statement. If you come up with the wrong combination, you'll take damage in the influence gauge. Press Q to rotate between this bullet. Press and release Q to recycle. And the mouse wheel. By the way, if the logic difficulty is set to kind, fewer bullets will be loaded into the cylinder. For our purposes this time, the logic will be set to me. This, well, good luck. Have fun.
Alright, sword
It's
sheath,
gonna be
I've set replica
the
sword. So which goes first?
The culprit grabbed the sword, and that's when the first blow was dealt. The sword-based sneak attack.
Okay,
No.
maybe.
And that's what broke
No.
Mizuno's wrist.
So she tried to fight back. She grabbed the kitchen knife she had hidden away.
No.
But then the culprit took that from her too.
And they killed her with it.
I think it's the first statement, because we know it's not a sneak attack.
I think it's the first one too.
There's something here. I gotta find it.
Culprit grabbed the, and that's when the first blow was done. Sword-based sneak attack.
Oh no. Oh, okay.
That one, right?
Yep. No, we're good. I thought I
Actually,
missed.
no.
Okay.
I don't think the fight started with the sword.
Why not?
Because the sword's sheath had been scratched. See? There's a gash in it. Like someone cut into it with something sharp.
Something
Like a kitchen
sharp.
knife.
You mean like the kitchen knife? That was the only sharp thing found at the scene.
Stop jumping ahead. Slow down and explain it so I get what the hell's going on.
If the sword was used first, there wouldn't
You
be
don't
any
get it.
explanation for the scratch on the sheath. If you were going to attack with the sword, you'd take it out of the sheath first, right?
That's true. With the sheath on, it'd be heavy and bulky and useless as shit.
Okay, so how did the sheath get damaged?
If they got attacked with the kitchen knife, maybe they grabbed the sword as a defensive impulse. In that situation, there wouldn't be any time to actually unsheath the sword.
Unless she was planning on killing
So
someone.
you're saying the sword was initially used to defend against an attack from the knife?
Which she started
Means
with.
Whoever had the kitchen knife was the one who attacked first.
I think I get it. So here's how it all played out. The culprit came in,
Okay.
found the kitchen knife hidden there somewhere. Then they took the knife and attacked Sayaka before she knew what was happening.
Totally.
So she grabbed the sword to defend herself. But then the culprit took that from her too.
Nope.
Then,
She,
after they
I think
broke
the
her wrist
culprit
with a
was the
sword,
one defending
they
themselves,
took
and
the
then it
knife
turned
and
into offensive.
finished it.
Sorry, but I don't think Sayaka used the sword
Okay.
to defend herself.
What? How the hell can you not think that?
I can grab the knife.
Because she
Why
never
would
held
she-
the sword at all. There's a certain part of her body that makes this clear.
Part of her wrist.
Shoot!
No, it's palm. Damn it, I was right.
Yeah,
Or you were
wrong.
right.
I mean, yeah.
I got it! You're
Damn
talking
it.
about her
Ah, that's
palms,
annoying.
right? The palms of her hands were perfectly clean,
Ah.
so I don't think she ever picked up the sword.
How can you know that just by looking at her palms?
Well, I've looked at her hands quite a bit.
Like I said before, the gold coating on that sword comes
Gold
right off.
coating, exactly.
All you have to do is touch it. In fact, if you look, you'll notice that a lot of the gold has already come off the handle. It's safe to assume that's because whoever used the sword got some of it on their hands. There's really no way she could have picked it up and come away completely clean.
Maybe she washed her hands after she escaped into the bathroom.
Sorry, but I don't think so.
Why do you say that? Is it because you think I'm ugly?
No, that's not it at all.
Why would she not use it? The wire was off. It was literally 2 a.m. in the
According
morning.
to the Monokuma file, Sayaka's time of death was around 1:30 a.m. In other words, at nighttime. And the water in the bathroom shuts off at nighttime, right?
Oh, I didn't know that. Actually, I haven't taken a shower in a while.
No, fucking
You're no
disgusting.
different.
Yeah, of course.
Big fat ugly donkey.
Well,
I'm
she
not
didn't
sure
have to
whether
say
to
that.
take that as an insult or a compliment.
Fucking hell.
Insult,
Alright.
So
An
anyway,
insult,
if Sayaka
yeah.
never touched the sword, then that means the killer is the only
Choose
one
like
who
me.
used the sword. But hold on. If that's right, then the one who damaged the sheath with the kitchen knife
Is... Oh my god.
Fucking no.
She had the kitchen knife?
But we already said that the
We've
attack
already
started with-
discussed that.
The person with the knife attacked first, and the sword was used as an impromptu defense.
Which means...
Then the one who attacked first was...
Sayaka? Now do you
Just
understand?
putting it all
She
together,
wasn't a
okay.
blameless victim in this.
No, far from it. It's almost as if she'd been planning to commit a murder of her own.
Seriously.
She
What?
took the knife from the kitchen, then invited the culprit to the room she was staying in.
And then changed the signs.
And if it's true that she had the kitchen knife and attacked without provocation,
Indeed. These are all the actions of an assailant.
Which brings up another point. Makoto, Sayaka was the one who suggested you two switch rooms, correct? Maybe the reason she wanted to switch rooms was so that she could pin the crime on you. That is a possibility, is it not?
Sayaka wanted to... on me?
That would also
No, duh.
explain why she would switch the nameplates. She wanted to get whoever she had targeted to come to Makoto's room where she was staying. And by committing the murder there, instead of her room, that would implicate Makoto. But for that to work, the target had to be lured out while still keeping the room swap a secret. If the target knew she had switched rooms, they would have become suspicious right away.
So all that's why she switched the names?
But doesn't that plan seem a little risky? For one thing, even if her plan worked, Mr. Naegi would just tell everyone they'd switch
You would
rooms.
do anything to get me out of here.
I don't know.
Yeah, but who would believe me?
Soft-hearted Makoto is capable of that kind of cutthroat behavior. I'm sure
Yeah,
Sayaka realized the
he was
same
already
thing,
going to be a
which
simp.
is why out of all of us, she asked him to switch rooms.
Easiest target. I called it from the
She was the
beginning.
ultimate
That you're the
sensation.
fucking idiot. Everyone was likely to
Unforgettable
believe her
kid.
first.
Or a national superstar. Who are you more likely to believe?
Wait, then
Exactly.
you're saying she had this all planned out?
Holy shit!
But in the end, her plan backfired.
Yes.
She launched her attack with the knife, then found
Makes
herself
sense.
under attack in turn.
Why I couldn't pick up who here would have just had the motive. Nobody had the motive.
And she was forced to drop the knife.
The tables were
Can we
suddenly
just
turned
plan the
on
blackened
her, and she
on
died at the hands
that
of the
period
one
then?
she'd planned
No.
to murder.
Just hold on! That can't be true! Because...
Hey! You guys have totally derailed the argument. You're
Yeah.
being super boring right now. Come on, hurry up and decide.
Been like an hour.
Wouldn't
Come
it be
on.
awful if I
I
had
know.
to punish you all just because you ran out of time?
Oh yeah, we gotta decide who we think did it.
Oh yeah, we gotta get to that, huh?
Makoto, right now you just need to concentrate on figuring out the answer to this mystery. If we
I mean,
can't
she
uncover
seems
who
to have
murdered
figured
Sayaka,
this all out
it's
before
open to
anyone.
all of us.
Oh yeah, no, she knows the whole thing. Actually, she doesn't know one thing that you actually know.
I just...
Obviously, can find who committed and killed her, but I mean, as far as clues go, we've got nothing.
What about the fucking killer's shirt? The fucking glass
Yeah, that's
ball?
what she's referring to. But no, there's a clue that you know that she doesn't.
The dying message.
It's easy just to say, hey, decide who did it. But there just aren't any more clues, right?
So we have to hit that one.
Very well. And let's
Right.
review all the clues we've found up to this point one more time.
Do we really have time for all that?
Nope.
Die! Die! Don't do something! We're all gonna die!
Yep. Alright, gotta get a move on.
It's easy just to say, hey, decide who did it. But there just aren't any more clues, right?
Bitch! Nah!
That's wrong.
There's two more things. Piece of bloodied
There
shirt
still
we
might
somewhat
be one clue
found.
left.
They're not
Sayaka's
talking about
dying
that.
message. Dining. Wait, what did you say?
Jesus.
The dying message. She wrote something on the wall behind her, remember? 11037.
37.
Written in her own blood. There must be a clue about the killer hidden in there.
Well, Before we get too far into that, I need to ask, can we really be sure that Sayaka is the one who wrote it?
I mean, yeah. Well, we can because the fucking finger.
Index finger?
Got it! Her
Exactly.
left index finger had blood on it. That could only be because she used that finger to write the message.
I see. She broke her right wrist during the fight, so she'd have to use her left hand to write.
Sure. I think we can all agree Sayaka wrote it. But still, what the heck do those numbers mean? 11037?
Hey, Chihiro. You're a computer nerd or whatever, right? You should know all about numbers and shit.
No, that's not... Yes, I'm a programmer, but I don't see any kind of meaning in these numbers.
Of course. It's because they're not numbers.
This is the clue that you found out
looks
before
like-
anyone else knew.
What?
I mean-
No, it's just look at the numbers, assuming they're not numbers.
Of course it's the guy you
They're
voiced.
the only
First two,
numbers.
1 1. Look
They're the
less
only
like two
numbers that aren't
and more
numbers,
like
but are
one
instead
letter.
also letters.
You're right. The connecting line is barely there, so I assumed it was 1 1, but looking at it now, you could also read it as an N.
Whoa. You might have finally just said something worth a shit.
Exactly.
Our little gray cells are really getting excited now.
But even if that really is an N037, doesn't make any more sense than before.
Damn, I've got no use. I don't know. I just don't know.
Rotate the image 180 degrees.
Pictures in front of me. I don't know how to process pictures.
Rotate it?
I can't process things.
I think maybe I see something.
Oh my god. Now I see. She wrote down the killer's name.
Huh? You just shot past the clue part and right on to who did it. So, whose name did she write?
Reveals the killer.
I'm assuming it's the fucking major guy.
N0E.
Oh shit!
Here's my answer.
You gotta kidding. It was
The key to
Leon.
solving this mystery
Damn it,
was
no.
simply to rotate the
Yes.
line 180 degrees.
I couldn't figure out who Leon
If you turn the
was.
message around,
I knew it was either him or the red
it
band.
becomes the
I was
letters
assuming it was red band though.
L-E-O-N. L-E-O-N.
I was close.
Or more accurately, Leon.
When you found out that was an N right afterwards, I was surprised you didn't realize Leon.
It's just a bunch
Or you
of
didn't
random
remember
stuff.
someone called
My
Leon.
name.
I didn't. Mine was
it's not
Leon
random at all.
Kennedy.
She wrote that message on the wall behind her as she was leaning up against it. In that position, she couldn't move to write normally, and had to write upside down, as it were. And as a result, when you look at it standing in front of her, it ends up getting flipped. Try it for yourself if you want. Write something sitting like her, and the letters will be inverted.
That sounds like one hell of a stretch to me. I'm the killer? You can't just go and say shit like that.
If you're not the killer, then why did you try to destroy the evidence?
Huh?
You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The evidence Leon tried to get rid of?
I have one question for you.
Oh, this.
I have a question for you
Yeah.
now.
Yes.
Do you know why the crystal ball was in there now?
Hold on. No.
No,
I
that
don't.
one, this one. Let me give you a hint.
Let me just see shit.
What is he?
A baseball player, right?
Alright, that's all you're getting
So
from me.
he could definitely throw shit from where he was into the incinerator.
Yeah, trying to
And
get
he
rid of
probably used a
was...
You use the crystal ball as a baseball and to turn it on.
The bird
then-
shirt piece I
Yep.
found laying on the ground by the incinerator, right?
The fucking shirt in, didn't he?
As the killer stabbed Sayaka, they must have gotten some of her blood on them. And to dispose of the shirt covered
And
in
this is the
victim's
point.
blood,
He's
Amateur
gonna push.
move.
Who could
into the
get in there?
incinerator.
Only the person on cleaning duty.
But one piece burned off
Right.
and got left behind.
And the killer didn't notice. If they had, they most certainly would have panicked. Isn't that right, Leon?
But is one scrap of fabric enough to conclude that Leon is guilty?
Yeah, I mean, Leon's not the
I
only
mean,
one wearing a
besides
black
the
button.
fucking dead person
That's
writing his
right.
name down,
Plenty of
yeah,
other people here with
kind
shirts
of.
like mine. With just that one little charred piece, there's no way you can say for sure who it belongs to.
But we already have a connection to you,
That
plus
alone
the
isn't
crystal
enough.
ball.
But there
which
are
only
some other
works
points
for
that may
you.
reveal the truth.
My mind was going
Are
to
you
the
finally
crystal,
starting to
it's like it couldn't
understand?
have been him, but at the
The
same
answers
time,
to
he's
all
the
riddles
psychic.
are right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Yeah, it's
so.
in their fucking database. He's a baseball player.
Hey, was able to get rid of
Alright.
is something they need to pay attention to. How was it disposed of?
I got it!
Because you know where and when doesn't
Look
matter.
closely at how the shirt was disposed of. We should be able to figure out who the killer is.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I think I know what you're gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
You can't reach the incinerator without opening the gate in front of the trash room, right?
Alright, murderer.
Yeah, it seems
And
like if
obviously,
you already
you
knew
wouldn't
that.
be able to hit the switch to turn it on either.
Murderer comes up with dumb excuse?
You need the key to get in, and the one with the key was the person on cleaning duty. So the killer had to be whoever was in charge of taking care of the trash, right?
Like me! I took care of some trash.
Interesting.
No, that's wrong. There's no way to use the incinerator while being on clean duty. Without being on clean duty. That's exactly what proves that Leon is the killer.
You've almost got it together, MC. The shattered crystal ball, right? That's the one we're
Yeah.
using.
The key to the trash
And
room.
we're gonna push.
Whoever was on cleaning duty must have had it, right?
So the only one who
I don't
could
think
get
it's
to the
that one.
incinerator was the person in charge
Now,
of the
that might
trash?
be in dispute.
And you'd have to get close to the
Okay, no,
incinerator
that's the
before
one
you
it is.
destroy the
We have
evidence.
dispute with that one.
Which means the only possible suspect is whoever had the trash room key.
Okay, so the
Oh my
person
god.
who would have had the
Huh,
trash
who
room
could it be?
was
Myself?
me?
Oh my god. I gotta say something, or else we won't progress.
The key to the whoever was on
So the only one who...
and you'd have to get close to the incinerator.
Buddy, calm down there. You're not the main character.
Shut up. Objection!
Hold
Yeah.
on. I think I know how someone could dispose of the evidence without using the trash room key.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't get past the gate, you couldn't possibly turn
Now
on
this
the
part I thought was in
incinerator.
contention. When I first watched it, I was like, wait, how big are these, like, rails? Like, for the gate? Like, how big are they? Cause, like,
Oh,
could
if it
you
was
really
big
throw a
enough for a
ball through
crystal
them?
ball,
Like,
if it was big enough for a crystal ball to get through, then a person could probably just squeeze through as well.
well, no, I don't think a person can speed through, but I was just wondering, like, cause if it's like those ones at the malls, like it was saying, there was no way it was gonna be big enough. The holes were not big enough in that to be thrown through.
Yes, you could.
I mean, yeah,
If you
that's
use
kind of what I'm
this.
What is it, some kind of glass ball? It's busted to hell.
Actually, it was supposed
Exactly.
to be a crystal ball, but
Let's not get to that point.
How would you use it?
You divine with it.
I got it!
You divine
Killer
it!
simply took aim at the
does that even mean?
incinerator switch and threw
Assuming
the
the
ball
crystal
through a
ball is all
gap in the
powerful.
gate. All they had to do was hit that switch, and the incinerator would come to life.
With pinpoint accuracy, which only the baseball player could have hit it with.
Yep.
Remember what you said before, Hifumi?
Real quick voice, because these are the flashbacks where we can take over.
Alright, yeah. Yeah, someone turned on the incinerator. Very strange. I'm quite certain it was off last time I was down here. Ew. Perhaps it was the work of a fairy.
Hifumi had the key, so the only way the incinerator could have been turned on without his